Yes, Dr. Jasprit, as of now, we have some 189 attendees here. And let me brief you about the group of students which we are having today. We are having students from MBA, BBA, and BCA background, and they are just admitted to the campus. I mean, they are first year students. And this program, it is with the training and placement cell. We have a year-round program, and the first program, we have thought about this personality development scheme, wherein student will be guided that how to have a wonderful persona, so that they can really have a lasting impression. So this is our first session here in this particular session. And with this, now I welcome you here. And before I really hand over the platform to you, I must take this opportunity to introduce to you to the attendees here. Warm welcome, Dr. Jasprit Kaur. You are an associate professor at Business School of Pearl Academy. You are having 16 years of teaching experience in marketing and marketing research. You have authored two books on customer relationship management and service marketing, and has written many research papers in Scopus and ABDC journals. Your research experience includes serving as an editor and reviewers to many ABDC and Scopus journals like International Journal of Consumer Studies, Wiley, and Management Decisions, Emerald. You are an AMT certified faculty from IMA and have received GRABS GRABS Best Researcher Award in 2008 and the ITSR Best Researcher Award in 2020. Madam Dr. Kaur, you have been conducting regular faculty development programs and workshops on the topics of systematic review and meta-analysis and qualitative research with NVIVO and guiding PhD scholars from reputed government and private university. Madam, a warm welcome to the institute, and we are blessed to have you among us. I hope my students are going to learn a lot, and of course, I'm always learning from the learned professionals like you. Thank you so much for spending your time to us, and please proceed further, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll be sharing my slide. And as I said, it's always a pleasure to come back to the IP family.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Before it becomes a typical guest lecture, okay, for MBAs, MCAs, in which I remember many times, when it was announced guest lecture होने वाला है, तो हम कहते थे यार क्लास ही बेटर थी. कई बार हमें ना जब एमएटी में हम पढ़ते थे एमबीए में, we used to feel that that is better. So before that happens, let me introduce you to a little incident which tells you the importance of personality development. Way back, I passed my graduation from Delhi University. Okay, Delhi University, we generally do a BA, BCom, BSc course. ठीक है, पढ़ाई पे ज़्यादा फोकस होता है. There's a lot of studies related to BA, BSc. And then suddenly I came to a private organization like you guys have come into an MBA, MCA. Okay. And suddenly, this sort of rules for etiquettes started. Wearing formals, speaking in English, presentations. And I remember in my first semester, I remember going back and telling my father that I'll not be able to complete my MBA. He said, "Why are the subjects difficult?" I said, "नहीं, मेरी personality match नहीं कर रही." I said, "My personality is not matching this setup of MBA, that formality, that diplomacy, that way of speaking." I said, "My personality is not matching it." Okay, so in Delhi University, we were those bindas types, जहाँ मर्जी बैठ गए, जो मर्जी खा लिया, that's all. And suddenly you land up in a professional course like an MCA and MBA, and you are taught that, how to behave, if I can name it that way. So you have to unlearn what you have learned for the past 20 years and suddenly start developing a new personality. So first semester was very tough. 2 years down the line, after I finished my MBA, there were presentations, there were formals, I don't know what all. This personality that I developed came into my blood. Today, I had a presentation of a PhD scholar. So PhD scholars that I train, they also have their presentations. Now I of course, there are students also, my PG students. And here also we inculcate that business formals sort of this thing. And there was this PhD presentation going on. So the presenter, my PhD student who was presenting, was in a normal cardigan. Okay. And if I can say, a vibrant orange color normal cardigan. So I don't know why. I mean, when they told me ask questions, although I didn't say it, but that image suddenly comes down. Okay, so try and understand that this professional personality development behavior that is being taught to you, it is very, very crucial. If I am recruiting somebody, or even I'm taking a presentation of a student or a PhD scholar or a colleague I meet, his first impression gets made when I see him walking inside. So the moment after 2 years down the line, when you get to the corporate and there are interviews, the moment the way you knock the door, the moment you walk in, the way you walk down to the panel, the way you sit, the way you fold your hands, the way you speak. Okay, forget the skill set. Forget the skill set, whether you're an MCA or an MBA, whatever. These things, ideally, I'm telling you, 50% of marking is done on this, if not 100%. Okay, 50% of marking. And the first impression, if it's good, it sets a good atmosphere with the panel. And that is why you are being taught this. Number one. Number two, being MBAs and MCAs and in the global market, I'm assuming that you will come with contact with the global people. Okay. So in China, if you come in contact with clients, Chinese clients, I mean, they actually wear a three-piece suit even in summers to office. Okay. If you are dealing with a client of the United States, he's like semi-casual. You might see him in a semi-casual. Visibly that if you're dealing with a client in UK, they are very, very formal. Their English is different from the United States guys. Okay. So even in client dealing, that is what the company wants. See, the company wants profit. And you have to, as managers or as IT professionals, deal with the client. What your personality was for the past 20 years, forget it. You all have to get to a job 2 years down the line. So this a sort of a danda that you're getting for 2 years, this is actually going to make you. My 2 years of danda in MBA is what I am today. Okay, so I am a pass out of Amity, and that 2 years of danda of personality that they gave me, I am what I am. I owe it to them, and you will owe it to Tecnia. And in case you listen to them and be with them for 2 years the way they are. Okay, so now let me get down to personality development. What is personality development? Development is an organized pattern of behavior. Organized. So it's not like, that you are with your client, you're driving down a road somewhere in China, and suddenly, somebody comes from the wrong side and you say, अरे यार ये तो दिल्ली में भी मेरे साथ कभी नहीं हुआ, ठहरो इसको बताता हूँ. An organized pattern of behavior and attitude. Organized means balanced. Please have your emotional control when you are professional. Another definition of personality development is that when we are dealing with employees, when we are dealing with professionals, our temperament, our character is what makes our personality. So if all of a sudden, just suppose, now ma'am said that students, ma'am said that don't be naughty and all. But suppose, I'm saying God forbid, and it happens in my seminars, not that it doesn't happen. Some students start scribbling on the slide. Suppose, okay, once I had done it, I had made a few people a moderator to ask questions, and they start scribbling on the slide. Now they can do it because they are students, but I am a professional. I have to keep my cool. I have to keep my temperament in control. And personality development does not mean only looking good. It means your whole character should adapt to the environment. Okay, I'll explain this with one example. I came from the, as I said, GGS IPU circle, Guru Gobind Singh IP University affiliated colleges. For 7 years I was there. And Monica, this is for you also to listen. So in IP colleges, when I was with my colleagues, males and females, there was a set of behavior, okay, which was considered good. So max you could do is probably shake a hand. That's it. When I came to Pearl Academy, here I saw that especially during festivals, Christmas and New Year, I mean, generally you greet each other by hugging each other. Okay, so when this cultural change comes to you, if you get into an organization like this, it's not just that you should be looking good overall. Your temperament should be such, your character should be such that you should gel into that environment. Even if you are feeling bad, do not show it on your face. Temperament and character control is also a part of personality. So, personal development or personality development is because you have personal aspirations. You have self knowledge, identity, talents, potential, human capital. So, this is that technical things that you have. So, MCAs have a set of this and MBAs have a set of this. You have this, but this is just 50%. The rest of the judgment which is going to be done on personality. So let me quickly come to some professional personality problems. And when I'm going through this, I'll not point towards anyone. Generally, when I tell my students also कोई example दे दो, तो generally कोई आगे नहीं आता. वो कहते हैं कि यार सबके सामने ना कहीं हमारी मतलब हंसी ना उड़ जाए. That sort of a thing. So I'll give my examples because I have also been a student. I'll give you my examples. First thing, don't be too familiar. ठीक है, एग्जाम्पल देके बता रही हूँ. I get into a panel, okay, and this actually happened to me in my one of my first panels. Okay, so I was giving an interview in Parle Agro. So there were this panel of two people, a regional manager and I think general manager. Yeah. So generally they greet you like this. Hello, Miss Kaur. Please have a seat. This discussion goes. Good morning, sir. How has your day been? It's been lovely. Okay, tell me something about yourself. Now, at this question, some people feel that जैसे कहते हैं ना, मतलब यहाँ हमने रिश्तेदारी करनी है, if I can put it that way. So when they say, tell me something, sir, I love painting. एंड लेटली आई वॉज हियर सर. मैं कल परसों तो मैं मसूरी भी घूम के आया और मसूरी देखा है सर आपने, बड़ा अच्छा है मसूरी. मैं मसूरी तो है ही अलग, आप देखिए, और उससे श्रीनगर तो और अच्छा है सर. आप गए हैं कभी? आप जाना हो तो मैं आपकी बुकिंग करा. So when he's telling you, tell me something about yourself, for heaven's sake, please talk business. And dear, this is not something that I'm telling you only when you face an interview. Throughout your life, throughout your professional tenure with a company, with an institute, please talk professional. Don't get too familiar. Even if on the other side, the panelists are getting familiar, the bosses are getting familiar, please don't get too familiar. So don't get too familiar. Know where to draw a line. You're not making a friend. Please, it is a professional relationship. You're not here to make friends. Generally, you would see in professional life, whether it's a panelist taking an interview or a boss in a company, they do, give you one or two sentences which are, to make you comfortable. That doesn't mean they have become your friends. So you should know where to draw a line and say, okay, now I can't get too familiar. So this is one of the mistakes or problems that, generally professional courses, students, MBA, MCAs do face, not only in their interview, but also when they get into a job initially. See, after 1 or 2 years, you'll know what the culture is. I'm just telling you in the beginning, the problems that you'll have. Another thing, use an appropriate language. Okay, again I'll give you a small example. So one of my students was presenting. Graduate students, they're a lovely set of students, but they are naive, they are young, you can understand. So there was a presentation going on yesterday, and he was presenting. Okay, so there was some data he brought. He said the industry is growing at 20%. He brought a data. So I said, beta, from where did you get the data? कहाँ से लाई ये data? From where did you get it? Ma'am, I have the source. Acha, so I said, you didn't put it on the PPT. Tell me the source. Ma'am, the source is www.jugaad.com. I said, excuse me? Ma'am, www.jugaad.com. I said, beta, is there a website like that? Yes, ma'am. And he actually showed it to me. I mean, that's okay. There must have been a website like that. But you are not supposed to be using words like jugaad, So suppose your boss says, oh my God, what a lovely thing you've done here. You've achieved your targets. Arey sir, मैं अगले महीने भी जुगाड़ कर लूंगा. This sort of a language is not acceptable. See, um, in a long duration of time when you're there professionally, you'll understand that slowly and gradually people start judging you on the words. Number one. Number two, no talks about religion, politics, any sexual orientation. Example, I'm giving you examples, practical examples. So colleagues are talking. There was a news in the morning. Now NDA, the entry for army, it's admitting girls also. The other colleague, girls in army. Arey, army mein what will girls do? A third colleague, this is a big mistake, I'm telling you. This is seriously some big mistake from the army. Now, how can girls get into army? Or what man can do, how can a girl do in army? It's not possible. These sort of discussions, please abstain. Okay. See, at a casual level, if you're doing them, it can show your personality. But here, it is a very, very wrong, it's not called professional talks. So anything about the Prime Minister or Modi ji or religion or race or age, I'll give you another example of age. So lately, when of course you become colleagues, sometimes you do tend to, joke around with each other. So there's a colleague of ours in our team, and we are very jovial with her. Okay. So we just said, ma'am, you are supposed to be the most aged person in our team. Now, this was just a normal comment. I remember there was someone from the HR, human resources, sitting over there, and she corrected me. She said, just breathe. This is not an appropriate sentence. And I was a little shocked. I was, ma'am, मैंने कहा क्या है? I've just said that she's one of the oldest. या आप कह लो हिंदी में सबसे बुजुर्ग faculty. That's it. She said, no, you cannot say that in the context of a professional. So can you imagine? Things are so sensitive when you get into professional life. And God forbid if you're talking about sexual orientations like girls can't do this, religion. Okay, ये लोग तो होते ही ऐसे हैं. If you're talking like this, I mean, it's not just that it's inappropriate. Nowadays, it has legal repercussions. Okay, so these topics, these are called out of the door. Please keep them aloof. They can create problems in professional life, and they can distort a personality, a good personality that you've made in front of an organization or your bosses. Okay, don't be overconfident. This is one of the major things that we try and do. So when I passed from my MBA and I got my first job, I was working in Parle Agro. So of course, formals and speaking in English and a good personality development, all that had been done in the 2 years. So when I got into my office the first day, it was a warehouse. Dippo कहते हैं उसको, dippo. ठीक है? Somewhere in some खिड़की गांव in Saket. This is my first job. Now I land up over there in a sales job. Everybody except for the regional manager and general manager who took my interview, they were of course educated MBAs. They spoke, they understood etiquettes or personality development, etc. But there were a bunch of people who were just say 12th pass, and they used to go for retail selling. Okay, that is a lower level, field level selling. and their language was miserable. Uh, as far as the garments are concerned, I mean, they could wear anything and come. I mean, there was no formal informal at all. So when I got into that place, starting from the manager to the senior manager, people just walked in wearing anything. You know, we were told a tie is to be worn and a formal suit is to be worn. So just imagine the first day I was wearing I remember way back in 2004, my first job, my first day with all those personality development norms that I had. I entered the office in a formal black color suit जस्ट टू सी दैट पीपल आर हेल्टर स्केल्टर एक अजीब सा डिपो है और वहां पता नहीं कितना सामान ठूस के रखा है एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ एंड it was a shock. And because I knew that these people, did not have that MBA degree or a personality or whatever that I had learned, I became overconfident. So there were times that in the first meeting, there is a manager sitting, there is a senior manager sitting who's just a graduate. Of course, there's a regional manager and a GM sitting who's an MBA. And there are some suggestions they are asking for. And there was a time I said in the meeting, there was a new product that they brought in. They brought in a pineapple flavor of fruity. And we were launching that, and there was a meeting that how do we launch it and how do we sell it in Delhi? What do we tell retailers? What do we tell institutions? And I was new, my first year of job, absolutely overconfident because I had a personality and I had an MBA degree, and the senior manager was not as educated as me. So I remember having said it in the board meeting where there is a set of directors and GM sitting. I said, sir, this product will not work. Imagine they are holding a meeting to launch that product, and I, that overconfident MBA, says that, sir, this will not work. Okay. And then my boss gave me a very bad look. And later on, he actually told me that, Jasprit, these types of comments are not to be given. And way back in MBA, I remember I was taught one rule. Maybe you'll also come across something called a subject called organizational behavior. Okay. In organizational behavior, I remember my faculty saying, and I remembered him so much at job. I remembered him so much. He had said that when you get into the system, first understand the system. Don't just react. Take time to understand the system. Be a part of the system and then say what you want to say. But probably I forgot those lectures, and what I did is I just in overconfidence. I went around in a whole board meeting saying that this is not going to work. Okay. And of course, that was not a very good thing to do. I was still in my probation period of 6 months, by the way. So that was not a very good thing to do. Okay. So if you're putting in a performance, see the zeal, why I did it is when you get into a new job, you're in a rush to prove yourself. यार मेरा 6 महीने का प्रोबेशन पीरियड है, इसमें मुझे बेस्ट होना है, तो मैं ना फटाफट कुछ आइडियाज दूं और मैं जल्दी से मैनेजर या सीनियर मैनेजर तक पहुंच जाऊं. एवरीबडी इज थिंकिंग दैट. बट a good personality, as I said, control of temperament, character, says that don't be overconfident. Wait for 6 months in the organization. I would rather say chup baitho. If you take my advice, 6 months, just keep quiet, see what's happening, learn from your seniors, become a yes man for 6 months. Doesn't matter. First 6 months, become a yes man to your boss. कोई बात नहीं, सीखोगे तो सही ना, सिस्टम के अंदर तो जाओगे ना, ठीक है? And then start speaking and performing. Okay, so first 2-3 months, just be a yes man, be quiet, learn. You just don't know. If you think by doing your MBAs and MCAs you have learned what the industry is doing, nobody does that. That learning in the first year of job is a different learning altogether. जितने subjects पढ़े हैं ना, सारे apply हो जाते हैं first year of job में. ठीक है? So that's another problem. Take care to answer questions. So, what happens is that in this time, many a times, and this is specifically for interviewers. So when you're giving an interview, take care that you're answering all questions. And when you're in job also, there will be times when you'll be answered questions. So when I say be silent, I don't mean that when your boss is asking you something, you just become silent and say no. There was one Dr. Jaspreet Kaur who came and said that first 2 months don't speak. Okay, so try and communicate, ask questions to them, answer their questions so that you come to know कि यार ये गेम है क्या, इस कंपनी में, इस प्रोफाइल में, ये जो मेरे KRAs हैं, ये गेम है क्या? Because after 6 months you're going to get permanent. Before that they're not going to make you permanent. Okay, so that's 6 months time, 2 months to understand and 4 months to perform. Let me say that way. Okay. Don't appear desperate. Now, this is again especially for if you after your post graduations when you face panels. Don't appear desperate to get a job. When you get your job, okay, one is being overconfident. I was overconfident in the director meeting that I told you, but I can say that I was a little desperate also, and I was desperate because there was a very short period of time in which I had to perform 6 months. So getting desperate to perform or getting desperate to make numbers doesn't work. Okay, and even when we come to when I say a balanced personality, getting too desperate and losing your temperament is not a good part of the personality. So these are the major problems. Okay, and now let's come to the body gestures part. So these are the basic personality problems that I've spoken about, but now let us come to should I say the objective part. What I've told you is the subjective part. So if I'm telling you that don't be overconfident, I cannot explain it in black and white. Okay, it will come with time how to control your temperament and make up a personality. So that's the subjective part. But in the personality, some parts can be objective, black and white, no gray areas. For example, body gestures, your way of dressing, your posture, okay, your way of speaking. These are a few things which can really make a difference when it comes to your personality. And I'll give you an example of each of these. I'll actually narrate to you my mistakes, which I did, like in the subjective part I did, so that you understand the same. Okay, now body gestures. These are the influences of personality. So if you want to know that what actually influences your personality, it is these things which influence your personality. The language used, the existing knowledge, the culture that you've been in. Okay, like I said, in the Indian culture, I'll come to examples also, but in the Indian culture, when you say formals or when you say a formal introduction, the max you do is good morning and maybe a handshake. In Indian culture, we are not too much into, hugging and maybe, kissing on the cheek or something. This is not something that is there in an Indian culture. So if you get into an Indian company, please take care of the culture. Uh, Listening skills, your writing skills, your attitude, your stress level, your assumptions. Okay, so I'll give you an example of assumptions. This is a very, very crucial thing, Sometimes we say something to another person and we think it's okay because this is the angle in which we have said it. So there was this one incident way back when I was again very, very amateur and working in Parley Agro. So I remember having told somebody or maybe heard it that uh, what I wanted to say is that you're looking younger than your age. So there was probably a 40-year-old lady and she was dressed in a lovely sari. So I told her, I said, ma'am, you're looking way less than your legal age. Okay. Uh, And it was a very normal statement for me. I mean, assumption. I was assuming that I've actually given her a compliment here. She's 40-year-old and I've told her that you're looking, younger than your legal age. Okay, rather than saying age, I said legal age. Now, she just didn't give me a very good look, and she just stated to me, she said, just breathe. It's not what you say or assume you have said, it is what the other person understands. She told me this. And I didn't get what she's saying, Actually, I said, have I said something wrong or not? So I went back and I checked. I said, what is the legal age? Legal age hota kya hai? Aisa kya bol diya maine? So when I checked what is the legal age, some places it says legal age of marriage. Some places it said legal age to vote. And some places it is given as a legal age when it comes to, your inclination towards the other sex. So maybe here, this connotation I did not know of. And I assumed that I am talking about the legal age means 18 years, the years to vote. Okay. So these sort of assumptions you have to be very careful of. Nowadays, you have to be very, very careful because although you are assuming you're right, you might not be right. Okay. Language used, existing knowledge, you should have a knowledge of all these business norms and behaviors. Okay. Okay. Uh, Let me see what is the first thing. The first thing that talks about your personality is the clothes that you wear. Okay, and many people. There have been many arguments with many people, even when it comes to me, that there is something which is supposed to be a proper dressing. Okay, so. This is what we call, what I've given you is a female and a male, and I've shown you primarily two types of dressings. One is which we call a business professional or formal dressing, and one is which we call a business casual. Okay, so if you see the lady, you'll see her in two attires. One is the business professional and one is the business casual. Similarly, when it comes to a man, again, the professional could be a business professional as well as a business casuals. Okay. Now, business professional, whether a male or a female, is a very, very safe category. In case of any doubt, just don't even try business casuals. कोशिश भी मत करो. सब्जेक्टिव है, क्या कैजुअल में आता है, क्या कैजुअल में नहीं आता, कितना कैजुअल एक्सेप्टेबल है, कितना नहीं. This is a very, very difficult thing to judge. Go for short thing. Business professional and man and woman business professional garments. That's it. I have had again a lot of debate on, especially in Pearl Academy. Sometimes with colleagues, I have this debate with the fashion side of colleagues. So I'll give you an example of this. So I was having my first presentation. I think I was teaching fashion design students. Okay, not the business students. The business students still know what are formals and this thing. The fashion students, of course, the fashion and styling students are a different set of students altogether. So they're into style, they're into colors, they're into different sort of silhouettes of garments, etc. So what happened is that they came for a presentation, and there was this girl who came in a Zara magenta color business suit. Top to bottom, she was magenta. Okay, and it was formals. It was a business suit from Zara, magenta color, formal shoes she was wearing, that too magenta only, or red, or I don't know. Okay, hair were formal, everything was formal, but there was a magenta color. So I don't know why it struck me. Okay, I actually come from that safe old school of thought where they say that if you're buying formals, uh, and you mean business professional formals, it has to be blacks, navy blues, chocolate browns, max these colors, the dull colors. The colors which just don't make you so vibrant that आप दूर से नजर आओ. That you shouldn't be attracting undue attention when you are in for a professional meeting, be it an interview or be it anything. Okay, so you should not be drawing undue attention, period. The dull colors, if I can call them, the blacks, the beige, the grays, the browns, the navy blues, they help you play safe. So, if I don't understand the culture of an institute I'm going into, suppose I'm visiting Tecnia. Suppose I'm visiting Tecnia. The safest thing is, even if I'm wearing a Western formal, I'll wear a black color or I'll wear a navy blue color. Best step. Because you do not know what sort of a culture the organization has. So that's the best bet. Okay. Uh, Casual is a very, very, very dangerous thing. Business casual is a very dangerous thing. Look at the example that I've given of business casual. Okay, so nowadays in casual shirts, even the best of brands, Alan Solly and Peter England, etc., have started coming up with weird colors, lemon colors and sky blue colors and printed shirts and floral prints. Okay, and when you go and buy them, they actually come into the formal category. एंड व्हेन यू आर बाइंग देम एंड यू से यार ये क्या प्रिंट है, ये तो फूल फूल हर जगह बने, ये ऑफिस में कौन पहन के जाएगा? दे से मैम दिस इज सेमी फॉर्मल और बिजनेस कैजुअल. These two terms are very dangerous. Do not experiment with them. Be safe. Wear a black. It looks best. It looks best. Black, navy blue, chocolate brown, army green. That's it. These are the best colors to be worn. Again, even when it comes to business professionals, now look at the length of the skirt that this lady is wearing. Okay, so when we say that we are talking about business formals, if you're wearing a skirt, if you're not wearing a trouser and you intend to wear a skirt, generally the formal skirts are knee length or below, period. You cannot wear a black color formal mini skirt to office and say it's business casuals. No, you can't do that. Okay, so again, the point is understand the basis, from where it's coming. You are there for work. You are there because they are paying you a salary. काम करने के लिए, fashion show करने के लिए नहीं. Number one. Number two, in an organization when so many males and females are working together, if you attract undue attention, okay, it spoils my work. I am a team manager. I have some 10 people under me. And one person is weirdly dressed, तो पूरा दिन बाकी सब उसी की बातों में निकाल देंगे. And मेरा काम नहीं होगा, मेरा जो deadline है, that will not be fulfilled, which I don't want. So that is the reason dressing is a very, very crucial thing. Handshake, another very crucial thing. So 80% of the times when I am interviewing anybody, be it a student for our post-graduation programs, be it colleagues, so when, for example, if there's a subject visiting faculty that we are recruiting or a full-time faculty we are recruiting at Pearl, I'm always there at the panel. I do meet the person, I do ask him questions, I do check that he'll be able to teach in the class. So the first thing that we do when the person enters is a handshake. And 80% of the times, I don't know why people feel that I have an atom bomb in my hand. पता नहीं लोगों को क्यों लगता है, या मेरे साथ ही होता है या दूसरों के साथ भी होता है, I don't know. But when you shake a hand, people are so scared of firmly shaking a hand. I have seen so many students, so many colleagues, when they shake a hand, वो थोड़ा डर डर के एकदम से, मतलब आप समझो if this is the hand, तो वो hand यहाँ बंद भी नहीं होता, मतलब ऐसे ही straight ही shake हो जाता. And this shows that you're nervous. Okay. At the same time, if you have a firm handshake, it shows that you're confident. But please don't become Sunny Deol and have such a firm handshake कि मतलब लेडी का हाथ ही बाहर आ जाए, ऐसा नहीं. But yes, the handshake should be firm. Okay. By now we are all adults. We know exactly what is the right amount of handshake. किसी friend से handshake करते हो, कैसे करते हो? ठीक है, ऐसे ही सीधा हाथ रख के ही नहीं, या बहुत आस्ते से या बहुत तेज नहीं. You know how to handshake with a friend, correct? So let that be the case with a colleague also, because or with your panelists or with your bosses, whatever, because they understand that you're confident if you have a firm handshake. Okay, this is one point on which they are judging you, so be very careful. Eye contact. So this I had learned when I was in standard ninth or 10th when I had this Hindi debate. I participated in the Hindi debate. So I was practicing that debate, and my faculty again and again, look at the judges, look at the judges. And I was like, sir, kaise? How do I look at the judges? मैं भूल जाऊंगी अपनी speech. I'll forget what I'm saying. I mean, the fact that I get into the stage, address a gathering of 500, remember my 4 minute script, वो ही बहुत है. कहाँ आप मेरे को look into the judges? I'll not look into the judges. I'll look into the walls. Okay. Now, when you look into the eyes of another person, okay, so it's not that Shah Rukh Khan story that you fall in love. It never happens. It so happens that when you have an eye to eye contact with a person, if somebody has an eye to eye contact with me professionally, I know he's talking sense. I know he's talking confidently. I know he's talking honestly. कोई भी ऐसा प्रोफेशनल इंसान जो मेरे साथ आंख में आंख मिला के बात ना कर सके, आई वुड से कि वो कुछ तो गड़बड़ कर रहा है यार. आई डोंट नो व्हाट, बट ही इज डूइंग समथिंग रॉन्ग. So when you have an eye-to-eye contact with your whoever is taking your interview or your bosses later on, when you're speaking about the job that you've done or what you've performed, it shows confidence. Yeah, it shows you're honest. इतना काम था, ये मैंने कर लिया, अच्छा क्लाइंट को दे दिया, बिल्कुल दे दिया सर. सो when you're speaking the script eye to eye, of course it has a different impact altogether. Okay, but that doesn't mean you start staring is actually a norm of posh also, so be careful. Okay, a body language. See, I've spoken about formals, but there's also something called a body language. This is a huge chapter in personality, develop a whole module. But let me give you one example of what I learned, and I have been telling that to my students also. So, generally, when you're facing an interview or you're talking to somebody, suppose your parents or something, how do you talk? I mean, do you stand like this, cross hands, and then talk? Generally, when you are crossing your hands to talk to somebody, psychologists say, people who study body gestures, the experts say that it shows a closed personality, a personality who doesn't want to hear anything from the other side, a closed personality, a stubborn person. Okay, this is what the psychologists say. I'm still not sure, but that was what was taught to us also, that whenever you're speaking to someone formally, don't have your hands crossed. Number one. Another thing which we do very, very, especially when we get nervous when we are facing an interview or when we are facing our bosses, is, we go on with something with our hand, like something like this. Something like this. Or maybe, you keep on shaking your leg. It gives in 1 minute, I can tell you're nervous. And when I am interviewing, or whether I'm interviewing faculties or whether I'm interviewing students, I do look at this, yeah. When you are sitting, sit straight. There are times when, students have come and I'm taking the interview. What is your name? My name is Jaspreet. So they're shaking around. They are shaking around because they are not confident. They cannot look into my eyes. Okay, so body language is very important. Also, there's a method of sitting across the table when two people are talking. So you don't maintain a distance from the table and sit. No, you sit near the table and you have your hands on the table and they're not crossed, they are straight, or maybe joining, the tips of the fingers joining. Okay, so body language is very important. Ideally, something that your parents must have been telling you since childhood: keep your back straight. Okay, keep the tummy tucked in. Believe me, I mean, these are crucial things when you are portraying yourself professionally to anybody, whether a boss or a subordinate or a colleague or a panelist who's taking an interview. The way you stand, in fact, in my case, I'm a little judgmental, very frankly. I'm not a very I'm from that old school of thought, okay, if I go in formals, I'll wear only these formals that you see. And I do not like people putting their hands into the pocket. It shows a very casual approach. I don't like people, doing this when they come for the interview. Okay, playing with their fingers. Okay, I don't like that. The way a person walks in into the interview hall, I can make out that whether this person is good for my organization or not. I don't even need to interview him. Okay, if he walks out with an attitude which says that to hell with everyone, I would never recruit him. He has to manage a team of 100 people. He'll never be able to do it. He has no control over his attitude. The way he walks, you can see the attitude. So body language, this is closed. As I said, any sort of a crossing your fingers or crossing your arms is a closed, gives an impression you're a closed personality. Opening your hands or talking, when you're talking, if you're using your hands and opening them, it shows an open personality. These are the various casual, or should I say don't do personalities. So look at this person. He's crossed, the one in the beginning, he's crossed his hands and he's actually staring at you as if he's going to put some IPC dhara on you. Okay. There's another person who has he's in semi-formals, if we can call it, or casuals, or maybe on Friday it's absolutely casual day, and he has his hands into the pocket. There's another lady on the extreme left who's crossed her legs. Okay, and as I said, this is not supposed to be good posture. The gentleman on the right, extreme right, first of all, he's dressed up. Again, I'm being judgmental, sorry, but he's dressed up actually as if he's come for some beach party or something. So, and on top of it, he has his hands into his pocket. Okay, the lady on the right, okay, has her hands on her waist. I mean, why? I mean, if she's talking to me, why does she have her hands on the waist? I find her very defensive, or maybe uninterested. Okay, so in front of each posture, you can see what is written. So if I start from the left, the first lady, because she has a crossed leg, she's lying. This guy who has his casual hands into the pocket and is looking somewhere else and not looking at me is hiding something. This person who's a suited, booted person and has his cross arms and is staring at me, the third one from the left, has a hostile attitude and is aggressive. The lady, that's the fourth from left, is defensive, uninterested maybe. And the rightmost gentleman, if I can call him that way, is thinks you're stupid. I mean, you're not worth talking, or maybe I'm too high five for you, sort of an attitude. So this is what body language does to you. Culture is a very, very important parameter, and I'll tell you why. Because when you say formals in India, the best formals that I understand is a sari. But if I was traveling to China and they said formals, I'll wear a business suit. So this is where you have to make your judgment. Okay, that as per culture, if in India somebody wears a traditional suit or wears a sari, it is formals. You cannot force the Indian professional lady to only wear a business suit. No, they are pretty much formals. Okay, this I'll leave. Your chance to speak is a very important, very important factor in your personality. So when there is a board meeting, the way you say "May I please," "Excuse me, sir," or you just get into the conversation, that is a very important parameter of your personality. When you're sitting with colleagues, there are bound to be disagreements. Okay, so they will be there, and as I said, have a cool temperament and try and solve them and walk out of the meeting like professionals. Come into the meeting like professionals, behave like professionals, walk out like professionals. The last, but not the least, be natural and be honest. Okay, now this might sound like a very big thing, but I am a live example of a person who's never cooked it up. Despite the fact that if I recall my interview at Pearl Academy, knowing that it's a fashion institute, knowing that it's a huge brand name, when I came for an interview, there was this then Dean, Dr. Priya Mary Matthew, and she asked me a few things, and I came from an IP circle, so I didn't understand this culture very well. I knew that this would be absolutely different. I remember my interview, it was half an hour, and there were times when I was laughing also, and she was also laughing. So be natural. I'm not saying be over friendly, but be natural. Don't cook up anything. So there was a time she asked me, "What do you know in research?" I listed exactly what I know in research. Okay, do you know this sort? No, ma'am, sorry, I don't know this sort of research. Be honest. People like it when you be honest. People like it when you say, I don't know it. It's okay. Not everybody knows everything. Okay, don't cook up things. Don't put, a face mask that you're the most posh person on earth. Don't do it. I bet if it's an interview for one day, you'll not be able to fake it. And if you're into an organization for the first 6 months, when you are with those people for 8 hours in a day, anyways, they'll make out here. So one part which I've seen in many colleagues is that the fact that they are desi is something which really they get offended about. So they try to copy, they try to become more posh. Okay, if you're a desi, be a desi. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You have to know basic English. Your skill set has to be good. If there's a software you need to know for a job, you need to know it. That's it. And I'm desi, big deal. I don't have that British accent and I'm proud of it, yeah. Okay, so that is my last bet over here. Inner personality, don't, you're brushing up. For 2 years, you'll be brushing up. I told you there'll be a danda. It was there on me also. But don't let your natural self get lost in it. If that gets lost, the charm will get lost. Your personality will look good, but your charm will get lost. Period. One small incident that I can tell you in Pearl Academy, which I do till now, is in between workshops, I speak Hindi. Okay, Monica will agree to me on that. There are times in workshops where one or two lines I still add in Hindi, bilingual. I understand the audience. And that is because it comes naturally to me. And what comes naturally to me comes best to me. And I have to perform best. Right? So I'll end it here and best of luck everyone and any questions. Now the whole other house is open to questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jaspreet. Nivedita, ma'am, I would like you to share the feedback link if possible. And students, please, you can put in your questions.
I have. Is there any question from any student? Kindly raise your hand so that I can give you right for speaking. I think one hand has been raised. Is there anyone who wish to speak something or ask something?
I see one
So,
hand.
Yashika.
Yashika Rawat here.
Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
beta.
Hi, Yashika.
Ma'am, I have this question. Many females or girls and women in the offices feel this way. Like when people comment on the things and outfits they wear, very informally sometimes also. So, ma'am, how can we deal with that? Ma'am, for example, if a girl wears skirt in an office, medium length, but still there are people who will comment and comment on the outfit she is wearing. So ma'am, how can we deal with that situation, because most of the people feel this way?
Yeah, Yashika, first thing first, where are you wearing that skirt is very important. See, as I told you, I came from the IP circle. So when we were in IP and we were dressed for any formal occasion, we never used to wear skirts. I don't remember wearing a skirt and getting into my class in an IP college. First thing, where do you wear it? Number one. Number two, in Pearl Academy, our faculties do wear skirts. Okay, it's a very open culture. They do wear skirts. Now, what happens is in a professional setup, even if you're wearing a skirt and people are talking about it, 90% of the time they'll not speak it on your face. It'll be
Yes,
like a grapevine, वो चलता रहेगा ऐसा, वो
rumors.
not speak it on your face. If at all someone does that, okay, there are decent, जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं कि मतलब बेइज्जती करने का भी ना एक बड़ा तमीज वाला तरीका होता है.
Yes ma'am,
It's not
exactly.
really, Ashika, I hope you know, जैसे
Yes
it's
ma'am.
not colleagues, friends में भी कई बार होता है, somebody just comments. Okay, so there are ways of probably giving a taunt, okay, but don't raise your voice, don't lose your temperament. That is what
आपने
is
सब भेज
personal.
दिया?
Yeah.
रुक
So
जाइए, वेट कर लीजिए, आप
back,
टेक्निक है तो वेट कर
give a
लीजिए.
taunt, give a sentence that he understands or she understands, but don't shout. The idea is personality development is not to be a yes man always, or to be that sugary, sugary, sweet, sweet personality. No, but the way you say it, and that person should understand it. He should never come back ever, even dare to give a comment. And at the same time, you should not have been loud that the whole office says कि इन दोनों में झगड़ा हो गया, और ये सर ने ऐसे बोला या मैम ने ऐसे बोला. ठीक है, that is what is what you can do.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Anyone else?
अमन गुप्ता मैम।
Yeah, Aman. Good afternoon.
मैम
Yes.
एज यू से कि हम हैंडशेक कर सकते हैं, जैसे जो हमारे सामने हमारे इंटरव्यूअर्स हैं, तो वो हमारे सीनियर्स के लिए बेइज्जती टाइप का नहीं हो कि हम उनको अपने से, जैसे हम हैंडशेक उनके साथ करते हैं जो हमारे साथ के होते हैं, हमारे मीन्स कोऑर्डिनेटर्स होते हैं, तो ऐसा नहीं होगा?
अमन, एक चीज देखने वाली होती है, कई बार ना जजमेंट आगे वाले के बेसिस पे होती है. जैसे आप अंदर गए, एक सीनियर है, वो उठा, उसने हैंडशेक आगे किया, तब आप हैंडशेक करोगे, आप नहीं इनिशिएट करोगे. ठीक है. टिल डेट मेरे ऑफिस में जब मेरे बॉसेस आते हैं, जब वो आगे हैंडशेक के लिए हाथ बढ़ाते हैं, तब मैं हैंडशेक करती हूँ, नहीं तो मैं खुद नहीं करती. वो जजमेंट आपको रखनी पड़ेगी. और अगर वो हैंडशेक कर रहे हैं, तो 90% ऑफ द टाइम अगर आप पैनल इंटरव्यू में हो और कोई आपके साथ हैंडशेक कर रहा है, तो वो जो चीज मैंने बताई, वो कॉन्फिडेंस जांचने के लिए ही कर रहा है कि आप किस तरह हाथ मिलाते हैं. ठीक है. और पता है क्या होता है, जब एक सीनियर हाथ मिलाने के लिए हाथ आगे करता है, तो सिर्फ हाथ नहीं वो पड़ जाता, आपके फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन चेंज हो जाते हैं. पता है, घबराहट आनी शुरू हो जाती है. तो दे
आई
नोटिस
आई हैव दैट प्रॉब्लम।
एवरीबडी हैज इट. अमन,
होता है ना कि मतलब परफॉर्मेंस हेजिटेशन जो होती है, एक अंदर मतलब डर बना रहता है, कुछ टाइप का है
अमन,
मेरे को।
ये चीजें शुरू में होती हैं, सबके साथ होती हैं. हम भी उसी दौर से गुजरे हैं. हम भी कभी एमबीए थे, और आस्ते आस्ते ना जब आप जॉब करने लगोगे ना, विद इन 1 ईयर ये सब चला जाएगा. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम ये है, आपको जब जॉब मिलेगी, जब इंटरव्यू पैनल बैठेगा, तब ये चीजें आपको पता होनी चाहिए. वी कांट वेट कि कब आप जॉब पे जाओगे और 1 साल के बाद सीखोगे. आपकी प्लेसमेंट इन सब चीजों पे डिपेंड करती है. दैट इज व्हाई दिस सेशन इज इम्पोर्टेंट.
थैंक यू मैम।
ठीक है.
See, this is related to the question which was raised by Aman. Right? He said that we have this, sometimes we have this inhibition among us. हमें कहीं कहीं कभी कभी कोई एक आ जाती है कि हम नहीं बोल पाते हैं. और कई बार ऐसा होता है, वी हैव दिस थॉट बट वी कैन नॉट स्पीक इट आउट, बिकॉज शायद हमें कॉन्फिडेंस ये नहीं आता है कि हम सही बोल रहे हैं, या लोग शायद डिसएग्री करेंगे या रिडिक्यूल करेंगे, कुछ भी हो सकता है. नाउ जस्ट आई जस्ट वांटेड टू, मतलब मैं स्टूडेंट के बिहाफ से ये पूछ रही हूँ कि जब ऐसे थॉट आते हैं कि शायद रिडिक्यूल हो जाए, या हो सकता है कि मैं जो कुछ बोलने जा रहा हूँ या बोलने जा रही हूँ वो पूरी इस लॉबी से कुछ डिफरेंट बोलने जा रही हूँ, तो ऐसे में क्या हमें बोलना चाहिए या सेकेंड थॉट देना? देखिए, एक तो होता है इनिबिशन कि हम बोल नहीं पा रहे हैं, थॉट इज राइट बट आई कैन नॉट स्पीक, दैट इज डिफरेंट थिंग. बट आई नो दैट थॉट में भी मेरा थॉट ही शायद कुछ गड़बड़ है, सही नहीं है, तो क्या ऐसे चीज को लेके आना चाहिए या नहीं? एक बार ये समझाइए.
दो बातें हैं. पहली बात तो ये है कि हम किसके सामने बोल रहे हैं. अब सपोज करिए कि ये स्टूडेंट्स एक कंपनी में अप्लाई करते हैं, कल एलजी आ जाती है और एक ग्रुप डिस्कशन हो रहा है जो इन्हीं स्टूडेंट्स के बीच में है. ठीक है, तब तो आप खुल के बोलिए. ठीक है. लेकिन जब एक जनरल मैनेजर आपको एक क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है, सपोज ये पूछ रहा है कि आप बताइए हिंदुस्तान में व्हाइट गुड्स की ग्रोथ कैसी है. अब मैम, इधर आपका बोलना ना बोलना डिपेंड करता है डेटा के ऊपर, बिकॉज आई माई सेल्फ एम अ रिसर्च पर्सन. तो मैं तो अपने स्टूडेंट्स को यही बोलती हूँ कि जब एक प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए आओ, और पैनल इंटरव्यू भी तो एक प्रेजेंटेशन ही है ना, अपना अपना पर्सनालिटी का प्रेजेंटेशन है, अपना डेटा पक्का करके आओ. सो अगर आप कुछ बोल रहे हो, मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल लेती हूँ. फैशन में अब जो गारमेंट्स बनते हैं, इसमें ना एलजीबीटीक्यू कम्युनिटी बहुत प्रोमिनेंट आ गई है, और ये बड़ा सेंसिटिव टॉपिक है, क्योंकि ये पता नहीं चलता बोले ना बोले, ये अब LGBT के बारे में बात कि ना करें समझ नहीं आता। सो डिपेंड्स कि आप पक्के कितने हो। अगर मैं कहूँ कि LGBTQ कम्युनिटी में इतना ग्रोथ हो रहा है फैशन में, तो मैं एक आर्टिकल से वो बात कहूँ, नंबर 1। और कुछ टॉपिक्स ऐसे हैं जो आप लग भी रहा है तो कृपया ना बोलें, जैसे रिलीजन, एज, सेक्सुअल, वो जो आपकी इंक्लिनेशंस हैं, ये सब तो अगर आपको लग भी रहा है या आपके समझिए कि पैनलिस्ट्स भी बात कर रहे हैं, इसके बारे में मत बोलिए अनलेस एंड अनटिल इट हैज बीन पुट अप। तो मुझे एक ऐसा मुझे किस्सा याद है कि मैं ट्रिनिटी में थी और मैं प्लेसमेंट्स में थी तब। तो एक कंपनी आई थी, उन्होंने हमारे स्टूडेंट्स का जीडी किया, ग्रुप डिस्कशन किया। एक्चुअली they gave them a topic about gay marriage in India। और उसमें क्या होता है, मैं स्टूडेंट से कहना चाहूंगी, ये ना एक एक सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस कम और रिजेक्शन प्रोसेस ज्यादा डिस्कशन। उसमें क्या होता है, 12 लोग हैं, जैसे ही आपको वो टॉपिक थ्रो किया जाएगा, गे मैरिज इन इंडिया, 10 लोग तो चुप ही कर जाएंगे, निकल गए, रिजेक्ट हो गए। जो 2 बोलेंगे वो सिलेक्ट हो जाएंगे। अब आप बताइए यहाँ बोलेंगे कि नहीं बोलेंगे? आप डेफिनेटली बोलेंगे, आप डेफिनेटली बोलेंगे, आपको बोलना पड़ेगा। अगर आप नहीं बोलोगे आपको जॉब नहीं मिलेगी। सो दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ जजमेंट डिपेंड्स कि आप किसके सामने बोल रहे हो और कब बोल रहे हो, किस टाइम पे बोल रहे हो। सो दैट इज व्हाट यू शुड बी थिंकिंग। लेकिन अगर आप एक बोर्ड मीटिंग में बैठे हो, वहां सब आपके सजेशंस मांग रहे हैं, तो आई एम सीरियसली टेलिंग यू, अभी तक जब एक मीटिंग ऐसी होती है जहां होती है मीटिंग्स, हमारा एक संवाद होता है जिसमें प्रेसिडेंट आते हैं, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट होती हैं, एकेडमिक गवर्नेंस के हेड्स होते हैं, और हमें पूछा जाता है कि आपको सिस्टम में कोई प्रॉब्लम नजर आती है, तो 80% ऑफ द टाइम्स इवन इफ आई एम ट्राइंग टू से समथिंग, आई डोंट से इट। ये एक प्ले सेफ है बिल्कुल, है ना, क्योंकि एक बड़े हाई लेवल के वो हैं, 500 लोग आपको सुन रहे हैं। आप सोचिए कि आपकी एक स्टेटमेंट का इम्पैक्ट उन सब पे क्या पड़ेगा या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पे क्या पड़ेगा। सो इन दीज सिचुएशंस आई वुड से चुपचाप बैठिए, मत बोलिए, डोंट बी द ऑड मैन आउट। नहीं नहीं, मुझे तो ये प्रॉब्लम है इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ, ऐसा बोलना मुझे नहीं लगता। और वो इंसान बड़ा नेगेटिव भी लगता है एक्चुअली। 500 लोग तो बोल नहीं रहे, एक इंसान खड़े होके यार ये प्रॉब्लम है, सो दैट शोज अ नेगेटिविटी इन वन पर्सन विज़िबी द रेस्ट।
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You explained with examples. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
One last question again from the student side only. I do not understand why they are not asking. But now the topic today's discussion is the components of personality of a persona. This was the topic which we have selected. Now, can you just differentiate between the personality and a persona? What exactly is a persona? So that actually we should understand that this is persona and we have to create this, because we have heard this that persona is something which everyone should have. Now, what is this persona?
सो मैम, पर्सनालिटी इज मोर ऑफ अ ब्रॉड टर्म, ठीक है। जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल हम कहते हैं, वी से दैट देयर आर 2 टाइप्स ऑफ पर्सनालिटी। पर्सनालिटी में काफी कैरेक्टराइजेशंस होते हैं, सॉरी सेग्रीगेशंस होते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल इंट्रोवर्ट, एक्सट्रोवर्ट, ठीक है। अब अगर आप पर्सनालिटी, मेरी पर्सनालिटी देख रहे हो, आप क्या कहोगे? शी इज एक्सट्रोवर्ट, ठीक है। ये तो हो गया जेनरिक, ये तो हो गया पर्सनालिटी। लेकिन डॉक्टर जसप्रीत कौर का पर्सोना एक बहुत ही डिटेल्ड स्ट्रक्चर है पर्सनालिटी का, जो सिर्फ एक्सट्रोवर्ड कह के समझाया नहीं जा सकता। उसमें आपको कम से कम 20-30 लाइंस और ट्रेट्स और लगेंगे, पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट्स और लगेंगे, ठीक है। सो पर्सोना बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल्ड होता है, इंडिविजुअल्स में डिफरेंट होता है। आप ये देखिए कि अगर 4 लोग नोएडा से हैं और एक ही जगह में रह रहे हैं, नेबर्स हैं, ठीक है, डेमोग्राफिक सेम है, इकोनॉमिक सेम है, सैलरी इनकम क्लास सेम ही होगी जब सेम तरह के घरों में रह रहे हैं, सेम ही तरीके से रह रहे हैं, सब कुछ, उन चारों का जो पर्सोना होता है वो अलग निकलता है। एक्सट्रोवर्ट हर कोई है, तो पर्सनालिटी में ये हम कह सकते हैं कि ब्रॉड सेगमेंटेशन होती है। पर्सोना तो एक इंसान का जो होता है, हो ही नहीं सकता कि दूसरे से मैच करे, हो ही नहीं सकता। सो पर्सोना अपनी एक इंडिविजुअलिटी होती है, विच डज नॉट मैच अनदर पर्सन।
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you so much, madam, for really cleared my doubt. Students, anything from you? Yes, yes, Vishesh. Who is this,
गुड
Vishesh?
आफ्टरनून।
हाँ, yes.
मेरा एक डाउट है, जैसे मैम आपने अभी पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट के बारे में बताया कि ये के इंटरव्यू में कैसे बैठते हैं, कैसे जॉब जॉब में क्या, जैसे आपने कलर का लिया कि वाइब्रेंट कलर नहीं होते, डल कलर लेते हैं, जैसे ब्लैक हो गया, ब्राउन हो गया। बट मैम इन अ वे ऑफ बिजनेसमैन अगर कोई ओनर है तो उसके लिए क्या सुटेबल है वाइब्रेंट कलर?
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं सूटेबल है, बिल्कुल नहीं। इनफैक्ट हमारा एक स्टूडेंट था, मैं आपको इससे समझाती हूँ। हमारे बच्चे तो खैर फैशन वाले हैं, तो जैसे मैंने कहा कि हर कलर पहन के आ जाते हैं। तो एक स्टूडेंट था मेरा, वो दिल्ली में रजौरी गार्डन में उसका एक सेटअप है, शकुंतलम करके ब्रांड वो ओन करता है। तो एक दिन वो ना एकदम सूटेड बूटेड लाइट ब्लू कलर की शर्ट और ट्राउजर बेल्ट ये सब पहन के अंदर आया, और पूरा ऐसा मतलब नॉट इवन फोल्डेड स्लीव्स पूरा। सो अर्जुन नाम था उसका। तो ऐसे अर्जुन, इज देयर अ प्रेजेंटेशन? सबसे पहले तो हमें यही ध्यान आता है कि कोई प्रेजेंटेशन होगी। ही सेड नहीं मैम, आई एम गोइंग टू माय शॉप टुडे। सो आई सेड क्यों, वैसे नहीं जाते हो? नहीं मैम, रोज जाता हूँ। तो आई सेड व्हाट हैपेंड? ही सेड मैम, जो मेरे एम्प्लॉइज हैं कुछ भी पहन के आ जाते हैं, और ये रूल अब मैं बना रहा हूँ कि शकुंतलम के जो 6 एम्प्लॉइज हैं वो ये कलर के कपड़े पहन के आएंगे। मैंने उनको यूनिफॉर्म्स भी दी हैं, लेकिन वो पहनते नहीं। तो अब मैं खुद वो यूनिफॉर्म पहन के जा रहा हूँ, ताकि उनको लगे कि यार मालिक ही ऐसे आ रहा है तो मुझे भी पहनना है। ठीक है? सो दिस इज व्हाट आई मीन टू से इज कि बॉस का मतलब ये नहीं होता कि वो कुछ भी, और आपका बॉस भी होगा ना, वो इन सब चीजों से गया होगा। सो प्रोबेबली ही विल बी फॉर्मल्स ओनली, ही विल सेट एन एग्जांपल ऑफ फॉर्मल्स।
मैम मैंने पहले क्वेश्चन करने में भूल गया कि मैम जो एक परफेक्ट बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर होता है, जो मतलब पोस्चर कैसे रखे अपना कि जो हम आगे वाले को थोड़ा अट्रैक्ट कर सके अपने पोस्चर से।
अच्छा, तुमने आपने अक्षय कुमार को देखा है?
यस मैम।
अक्षय कुमार जैसा रखो। I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Have you seen John Abraham?
यस मैम।
स्मार्ट कौन है दोनों में से? सीधा बताना, जेन्युइनली बताना।
जॉन
दोनों
अब्राहम।
में से ज्यादा अगर आप कहो माचो या हीरोइक, किसकी कौन है दोनों में से?
जॉन अब्राहम।
जॉन अब्राहम। लेकिन अगर मैं पोस्चर की बात करूं, तो अक्षय कुमार का पोस्चर देखिए। व्हेन ही वॉक्स ही स्ट्रेट, व्हेन ही टॉक्स हिज हैंड्स आर नेवर फोल्डेड। वो एक कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ खड़े होते हैं। वो उनके शोल्डर्स कभी भी झुके नहीं होते, उनका टमी कभी भी बाहर नहीं होता। सो इररिस्पेक्ट, और इसका आपके फिगर से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, बाय द वे। इसका आपके फिगर से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। सो देयर इज दिस वन मोर एक्टर, आई डोंट नो इफ यू सीन हिम, टेलीविजन पे आते हैं, राम नाम है उनका। मोनिका मैम, कैन यू हेल्प मी विद द
राम
सरनेम?
कपूर। राम
हाँ,
कपूर।
राम कपूर। यस यस यस, राम
कपूर।
कपूर। अगर विद ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, ही इज नॉट अ पर्सन लाइक फिट एंड फाइन लाइक अक्षय कुमार और जॉन अब्राहिम, बट आप कभी उसको वॉक करते देखिए सीरियल्स में। ही हैज अ पोस्चर व्हिच इज डिग्निफाइड एंड इम्प्रेसिव। इसका आपकी बॉडी शेप से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। ठीक है? सो दैट इज व्हाट आई मीन व्हेन आई से पोस्चर। ठीक है अमन?
यस मैम, थैंक यू मैम।
ठीक है। यस, मनोज।
Yes, ma'am. I have a question about the hair. I mean, can we have a long hair in a organization or business environment?
नो, आई एम स्ट्रिक्टली अगेंस्ट इट। एज आई सेड, आई एम टू
Okay.
जजमेंटल। नहीं,
A mid length. I mean,
if you have to tie it
short.
up, no.
Only
Short is
short hair.
ओनली शॉर्ट हेयर। नो, नो पोनीज एंड ऑल दैट, नो। वो सिर्फ फिल्मों में दिखाते हैं कि ऐसे लोग ऑफिस जाते हैं, एक्चुअली में नहीं होता। और जिस सेटअप से आप हो, अगर आप एक बार को मुझे कहते हैं कि मैं एक फैशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जा रहा हूं, तो मैं आपको कहती चले जाओ। लेकिन जो मुझे बताया गया कि आप एमबीए एमसीए स्टूडेंट्स हो, आपके लिए बिल्कुल ही नहीं। नो। एंड वन मोर थिंग, ये जो कलरिंग ऑफ हेयर होती है, बिल्कुल ब्लॉन्ड कलर पूरे हेयर बना के, इवन दिस इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड फॉर्म। दिस इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड
Oh,
फॉर्म।
okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Yes.
Yeah, ma'am, I have a doubt that we have to be clean shaved when we going for interview.
अरे पूछने वाली बात ही नहीं है साहिल, ये पूछने वाली बात ही नहीं है. Unless
Patchy,
and unless and
patchy.
until.
Yes, ma'am.
See, if you have a beard and mustache, it should be like full. ठीक है, तो कई बार लोग रिलीजियस रीजन से भी रखते हैं, मुस्लिम्स में कई बार रखते हैं, सिख्स में होता है. दैट इज अंडरस्टूड, दैट इज अंडरस्टूड. अगर आप स्टाइल के लिए रख रहे हो तो जैसे कहते हैं ना, इट शुड नॉट बी लाइक अनटाइडी कि आपने 2 दिन से शेव नहीं किया, वैसे नहीं. या तो पूरी आपकी बियर्ड और मुस्टाश हो या फिर बिल्कुल नहीं हो. आप अगर सिर्फ 2 दिन शेव ना करके जाते हो तो दैट शोज बैड हाइजीन and gives a very bad reputation.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all my fault.
मैम अगर मतलब अगर मेंटेन्ड है तो तब तो चल सकता है ना इससे,
बिल्कुल
बियर्ड एंड.
बिल्कुल, आपका फुल बियर्ड और फुल मुस्ताश अगर है, वेल मेंटेन्ड है, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम. प्लीज सपोर्ट इट विद हेयर स्टाइल. मतलब प्लीज वो स्पाइक्स वाले हेयर स्टाइल मत उसके साथ सपोर्ट करो. आप कोई पंजाबी पॉप स्टार के इंटरव्यू के लिए नहीं जाओगे, एमबीए एमसीए करके प्रोफेशनल उसके लिए ही जाओगे. So we don't expect students to come with long hair or dyed in blonde color or वो जो एक आजकल आए हैं कि मतलब एकदम spikes वाले hair, we don't expect that. ठीक है, beard mustache is okay. हेयर स्टाइल थोड़ा कंट्रोल करो, एक बार इंटरव्यू पास हो जाए फिर से वापस वैसे ही कर लेना. ठीक है.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, actually, ma'am, my English is pretty good, but ma'am, I'm very shy in front of my friends. कि मैं like होता है ना मैम कि वो क्या सोचेगा, वो क्या बोलेगा. तो इस चीज को हम कैसे इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं? लाइक मैम, बहुत बार होता है जैसे अभी बच्चे क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ रहे थे, like, मैं भी नहीं पूछ रहा था कि मैं ऐसे बात करूंगा तो आप क्या सोचोगे, या इतने सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो वो क्या सोचेंगे. तो हाउ कैन वी डील विद दिस?
First thing first, I that's what I've heard. मतलब most of the times I've heard that talk to yourself in a mirror. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, इंग्लिश हम सबके लिए बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, मानो ना मानो. ठीक है, एक होता है कॉन्फिडेंटली बात करना, एक होता है इंग्लिश में कॉन्फिडेंटली बात करना. इंग्लिश सीखने का, जब से इंग्लिश सीखनी शुरू की है फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड से, एक ही तरीका है, स्पीक. ठीक है, हंसने दो, अभी क्लास में सब हंसेंगे, हंसने दो. यू टॉकिंग टू योर फ्रेंड एंड टॉकिंग इन इंग्लिश, थोड़ा बहुत वो हंसेगा, कोई बात नहीं, अच्छी प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी तुम्हें. ठीक है, सो इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग इज वन. टॉकिंग टू योर सेल्फ इन द मिरर. एंड एक तरीका जो मुझे बहुत मैं आई कांट मेक फ्रेंड्स विद स्ट्रेंजर्स और टॉक टू देम. ठीक है, वो मुझे भी थोड़ी हेजिटेशन है उसमें, अभी तक है. अभी तक कोई फैशन के स्कूल से आता है एंड हाय जसप्रीत, तो मुझे समझ नहीं आता आगे से क्या बोलना है. मतलब मेरे मुंह से तो अभी तक गुड मॉर्निंग ही निकलता है. ठीक है, उसके बाद हाउ आर यू, फिर मुझे सेकंड सेंटेंस समझ नहीं आता क्या बोलना है. ठीक है, क्योंकि वो अनजान है. ठीक है, उससे रोज मेरी बातचीत नहीं होती है. सो द बेस्ट थिंग यू कैन डू फॉर दिस इज दैट, जो जो मैंने भी किया था, आपकी जो एमबीए में प्रेजेंटेशंस होती है ना, ठीक है, क्लास में जो इंटरेक्शंस होते हैं, जब मैम कहती है कुछ पूछना है किसी ने, तो प्लीज वहां से शुरू करो. क्लास में डाउट पूछने की जो झिझक है वो हटाओ. इतने लोगों के सामने डाउट पूछ रहे हो, कोई ना कोई हंसेगा, कोई ना कोई कुछ कहेगा, अपने आप प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी. सो दैट इज वन थिंग विच आई डिड. मैंने खूब डाउट्स पूछे, मैंने कहा जिसको हंसना है हंसने दो. और दूसरा, मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन में हमेशा लीड किया. बहुत डर लगता था प्रेजेंटेशन के पहले, एक एक रात पहले सोते भी नहीं थे. बट मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन से मतलब इतना डर निकल गया कि उसके बाद जब एमएटी के बाद हम पैनल इंटरव्यू में बैठे, एलजी में बैठे, पार्ले में बैठे, तो हर जगह ही थ्रू हो गई मैं. क्योंकि मुझे था अब जितना 2 साल मुझे डराया गया, उससे ज्यादा क्या डर जाओगे यार. मतलब 80 लोगों के सामने मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन कर ली, उन लोगों ने लिटरली रैगिंग कर ली, और फिर भी मैंने अपना पॉइंट प्रूव करा, पीछे मेरे पास डेटा था, सब था. तो उससे ज्यादा पैनलिस्ट क्या कर लेंगे, है ना. सो दैट इज समथिंग यू कैन प्रैक्टिस. क्लास में ही प्रैक्टिस करो, डाउट्स पूछो और प्रेजेंटेशन प्रैक्टिस करो. ठीक है.
Thank you so much for sparing your time. And thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much, Pearl
Thank you,
Academy.
ma'am.
I'm sure that in future also we will be also in touch with various sessions. And Jaspreet madam, very soon I will be requesting Monica to arrange a session on meta-analysis for my faculty as well through you.
Sure,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
You can take my number from Monica. She'll be sharing it with you.
Sure, madam. And
Great. So
students, we have
students,
shared
please.
two feedback forms to you. One is from Pearl Academy and other is from Tecnia. You are requested to fill those two forms on a religious basis, right? You have to fill those forms. Otherwise, your attendance will not be marked. And of course, it contains the valuable feedback which is required for us to organize and conduct more such sessions. So it gives an understanding that whether the objective was fulfilled or not. So therefore, all of you please fill that form. There are two forms. Please fill those two forms. And before we formally leave this meeting, can we have a very quick verbal feedback, one or two feedback from some of the students? If you wish, you can unmute yourself and speak something about today's session. Yes, anyone? Anyone? You wish to speak about today's session? Just a verbal feedback and how it was?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
अमन
Yes,
गुप्ता.
Aman.
यस मैम. मैम ये सेशन काफ़ी
Tell,
अच्छा था.
tell me.
मीन्स इससे हमें काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें क्लियर हुई कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए और क्या नहीं करना चाहिए आगे, और कैसे फॉर्मल को हम अपने ड्रेसअप कर सकते हैं, और हम अपने आगे जो इंटरव्यूज़ होंगे उनमें क्या क्या चीज़ें नहीं करें और क्या क्या करें. तो इससे ऐसे अगर कुछ सेशंस और हो तो हम अपने आगे वाले इंटरव्यूज़ के लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा प्रिपेयर हो सकते हैं अभी से ही.
Done. Taken into consideration. Thank you so much for your feedback. Anyone else?
Ma'am,
Anyone
that
else?
was
Any
a,
verbal feedback?
yes,
Yes,
ma'am, yes,
Sahil.
मैम दैट वाज अ एक्सीलेंट सेशन मैम. मेरी बहुत सारी क्वेरीज थी जो मेरे से सॉल्व हुई है. मेरे को आगे इससे बहुत बेनिफिट हो गए, मैं जानता हूँ मैम. इस सेशन के लिए थैंक यू सो मच. थैंक यू मैम. और ऐसे सेशन मेरे ख्याल से और होते रहेंगे हमारे लिए.
Yes, ma'am, Suraj. Ma'am, session was very amazing. Jaspreet ma'am was very humble, and I request you to arrange more sessions like this.
Thank you so much. Definitely, Suraj. Taken into consideration. Mirza?
Yes, ma'am.
Mirza,
Part said it was a great session. Thank you so much.
thank you, beta. Thank you so much. Vanshika?
Yes, ma'am, this session was very interactive and effective, and I want that these sessions are conducted in all colleges other than GGSIPU so that every Indian student in every college gets a nice mindset, not judgmental, but an open mindset.
Wow,
That's
Oh,
that's
all.
thank
great. I really liked your feedback. Thank you so much. So,
Thank you,
Nivedita ma'am,
ma'am.
let's do one thing. Let's club all the IP colleges together. And we club all first year, second year, and third year this time, not only one batch. And we can plan something big for them.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Monica, you are also getting the feedbacks, verbal feedbacks. Okay.
Yes, I'm really happy to see that, and this is what makes us come back again. So please do fill up the form which is there and ma'am has posted. This is really important in case if it comes back again to have a session like this. So we will consider the feedback that you will share with us.
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, students. Thank you, Monica, once again for running such a wonderful session. And it happens with me that whenever I call Pearl Academy, I get instant no, response, very prompt response, a beautiful response that too.
Thank you. Bye
Okay,
bye.
students. See you soon on the next session. Thank you so much. Goodbye.